Hey, are you a business owner, entrepreneur, or professional? If so, we want you to apply to be a featured guest on our show. My name is Adam Torres, and I host the Mission Matters series of podcasts. I've recorded over 3,000 episodes, and we are just getting started. How do you know if you'd be a good guest to be on the show? Well, only one way to find out, and that's to apply, but I'm going to let you in on a little secret. We want guests that have a story to tell, guests with a brand, a product, or a service that can benefit my audience of listeners. If this sounds like you, go to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. I'd love to talk to you and get to know more about your story. Again, head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, now let's get into the show. Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I have Nelson Quest on the line, and he's founder and CEO of agentfire.com. Nelson, welcome to the show.
Hey guys, Adam, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, so excited to get into today's topic. So we'll talk about realigning self-image for real estate agents. So a lot of agents that listen to this, and a lot of just business professionals in general. And I know as I was looking at your YouTube channel and a lot of the other things you do, when I think about this concept of self-image, I feel it's important for all professionals out there. So I'm really excited to get your take on it. But before we do that, we'll start with our Mission Matters Minute. So Nelson, we at Mission Matters, we amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. So that's our mission here. Nelson, what mission matters to you?
I do most of what I do just to kind of prove to myself that I'm not the pathetic loser that I thought I was. That's truthfully my primary motivation in pretty much everything that I do. So, with the YouTube channel, which I had mentioned, I do some YouTube stuff. I have the fastest growing self-development, personal development YouTube channel in South America, which I kind of started just as a hobby, as a way to kind of practice my Spanish, and it ended up being really popular. That I do, my YouTube stuff I do to create the sort of content that I wish I had when I was younger, to help other people. Agent Fire, my primary business, which is real estate websites for agents and brokers across the US and Canada. That I do, I just out of passion. Like obviously, any business is finding a problem, solving that problem at scale. So I would say Agent Fire, the occupational side of what I do is really just, again, a lot of it is just proving to myself that I'm not a loser, and that I'm actually able to build a massive business that employs lots of people and has lots of happy clients. But on the other side of it is just, I do it really for the challenge more than anything else. I'd say it's what I enjoy.
And Nelson, and we'll get into this later in the interview, but you're definitely one of those people that likes to set big challenges and go for them. So we'll talk about that in a moment or two. But again, great having you on the show. Love bringing mission-based entrepreneurs on the line to really just share why they do what they do. So let's go a little bit further back. So of course, know that you started agentfire.com, and we'll talk about that, and also the YouTube channel. But how did this start? How did you get started as an entrepreneur?
Honestly, just by accident. I think I was very fortunate in that I think a lot of kids that are coming up right now, this is something I've noticed, especially through the YouTube channel and talking to, I've talked to thousands of young people at this point. And I didn't have a lot of the external distraction. I'm 36 years old. It's not like I'm 80 years old and I grew up, before during, when telephone was the only way people could communicate. But I just, I didn't have a lot of friends. And so I didn't know that I could use Google to find answers to things. I didn't know that I could go watch videos on YouTube. I didn't know that I should be reading books to learn about how to develop skills or build businesses. I thought I should just figure things out myself. And so when it comes to my business, I went to school originally for economics. I actually got a degree in economics. But when I was much younger, when I was 13 years old, I was really like a computer prodigy. Again, I didn't have any friends, so my parents bought this computer, and back when they first bought it, it was just AOL, and you connect on the 56K. Yeah. But then within a couple of years, they started coming out with graphic design application. Photoshop was one of them. I didn't have money, so within about 4 years, they were there was what's it called, where you could get this stuff illegally. And so I'm not sure if I should even say that, but anyway, it was a long time ago. I pay for all my licenses now. But I got some pirated copies of, there was like Bryce 3D, Adobe Photoshop, and I would just start playing around with this stuff. And so while other kids were playing outside, I was building like 3D models of fighter jets and doing stuff like that. But the problem is my parents are second generation. Their parents were born in Puerto Rico. They were born in New York, and their definition of success was basically that I had to become either a doctor, lawyer, or a banker. I didn't have any authority, adult figure around me to be able to recognize that I had these talents. And so I was kind of, not intentionally, but I was guided down this path of going to college and getting a degree and specializing in a profession. And where really my passion was doing web stuff. And so after I got my degree, I was going to start a company with my dad. I was extremely emotionally immature at the time. He tasked me with setting up a website for this business. We were going to start a real estate brokerage together in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. And so he tasked me with making a website. I just built a template website for this thing, but it was this cascade of memories of all the stuff that I played around with when I was younger, when I was like 13, 14 years old, when I had my own website where I would review role-playing video games. And so anyway, because I was emotionally immature, he said he didn't want to do this business with me. But in the process of whatever little we had done to start that business, I built this website. I loved the process of building this website. And I realized that this was something that I wanted to continue to explore. So when he told me that he wasn't going to do this business with me anymore, and that I had about a week to figure out my life, he gave me like 1 week to figure out my life, and then he would stop supporting me. That's hold
on. So that's just a little bit of pressure out there. And how old are you at this time, like roughly?
I mean, to be fair, I've always worked full-time jobs since before it was even legal to do that. My dad definitely taught me. I had a very, work hard mentality. But yeah, when you go through college thinking that you're going to start a business with your dad, and you're kind of expecting, my dad's a really smart guy. He really came from nothing. Grew up in one of the worst situations anyone could imagine. All his friends are dead, and he was able to make something of himself. He started a business by calling people in the Yellow Pages, started a really successful insurance company. Wow! And
amazing.
Yeah, so I had a really good model in a lot of ways, and so. Yeah. So anyway, but when you've gone through 5 years of college thinking that you're going to do this one thing, and then you're told that you're not going to do that thing, and now you have a week to figure out something else. It's actually, I tell my dad all the time, it was the best thing he's ever done for me in my entire life, and then I really sincerely mean that. And so so I had to figure out something. That week, that website that I created won an award on a platform. It was on this platform called Point2, which if there are real estate agents watching this, Point2 was a really popular real estate website platform back in the day. Anyway, it won an award. I had an idea to put a little graphic on the website after it won the award that said, if you want a website like this, contact Nelson. I had very few people that contacted me, but I got people that contacted me. And I had my first few clients, which I built their websites for free, or in some cases $100. They took me months to build, like a minimum one month to build for $100, which if you do the math, and I was working entire days. So I was getting literally pennies an hour, but I knew that I had found something, and my occupational brain at the time was still very small and undeveloped. So I just figured, well, if they're paying me $100, I just have to build, 10,000 of these a year, and I'll be good. That was legit, sincerely like what I thought, just because I had no business sense whatsoever. So, but I knew that I loved building websites. Again, I'm introverted. I don't really like leaving my apartment unless it's to do something really cool, which maybe we'll talk about. But I'm generally, I don't know, not that great with people. So being able to build websites in my home in silence is just, it's just.
Yeah. And so many things I like about your story, and I feel like a lot of people out there can relate. And so the first thing is, you were told, or you're going down one path, and then maybe you had to pivot, right? Whether it was your father, other things like that. I mean, regardless, like all of us in business and in life, we have these unexpected things that happen that pull us in a new direction. So there's some people out there right now that are watching this, and they're like, maybe they're being pulled into a new direction, and hopefully it's along the lines of something like you found. So meaning that doesn't mean they have to be designing websites or doing anything tech related, but you happen to have been pulled in a direction of something that was, really fit your personality. It fit what you wanted to do. It fit your interest and your passion, like all those things combined. So you got pulled in that right direction. Even like you said, I'll use your words, you said by accident, right? What kind of advice or even what kind of things would you just tell to maybe some people out there right now that are just getting started? They're a little bit further. They're not quite as far along in their journey as you are, maybe in business. And now they're considering another direction. Like what kind of things would you tell them based off of your experience?
100%. Just like delete social media. We have a tendency, like there's something really sinister happening, especially with younger generations, where there's this like external first mindset, where whenever we're presented with the problem, our initial impulse is to just cast the nets of our consciousness out into the external world looking for answers. And I think we really, I built my business entirely myself. Like I've never read a business book. I've never watched a YouTube video on how to build a business. And just a lot of the problem with all of this like fake social media kind of false reality. And I could get actually really deep into this stuff. I'll try not to, although it's kind of hard. But what I'll say is, my advice would just be to just to shut off everything. Like, Nietzsche said, if it's my favorite, I probably should have it memorized. Basically, we have a voice within ourselves, and sometimes we fail to give that voice attention, because when it speaks demandingly. And so, for anyone that just feels that initial impulse to maybe break out into a new direction, it's really important to not ask anyone else for advice, especially parents or any of the traditional authority figures that we've gone to in the past, and to instead kind of break free from the cycle of the thing that has kept us moving down this like factory line type path our entire lives, and just listen to that voice inside of us that is probably speaking like very demandingly in a way that's almost scary.
Yeah. And something that I find people, they're in this like constant like state of, and like, I like the part that you said about social media, by the way, and I'm a big fan of that, even though our platforms are on, many of them are on social media. But the point is that you're making is that, especially when you're starting that business or when you're just getting going, like you can't be so distracted by every little thing. Like you have to be focused. You have to actually build the business. You have to get customers. You have to service their, provide whatever value that you've promised them, right? So they stay with you. And then you have to really focus on getting better there.
Yeah, 100%, because it really just common sense, right? You have to figure out how to solve someone's problem, and then you just figure out how to solve that problem at scale. And so, the problem, especially with a lot of young entrepreneurs, is they just don't have any faith in their ability to do things. And so anytime they're presented with any sort of situation, they immediately just look to books or YouTube to solve problems that they can just solve themselves. And it's solving those problems themselves that create the sort of character that allow for someone to actually develop the capacity to build like a massive organization. And a lot of it is just common sense, and it'll just happen over time. Like I've been able to figure this stuff out myself. And whenever I talk to there are times when it makes sense to talk to other people, especially if those other people have a lot more experience in the specific thing that you're looking to do or are doing. But a lot of it is just really just common sense, and you build confidence in yourself by earning confidence, and you earn confidence by especially by just figuring out difficult things by yourself.
Awesome. Let's switch it up a bit. Speaking of providing value, so agentfire.com. Tell me a little bit more about you told me, I believe the inception of this was, the first site was with your dad, and then this thing, like fast forward us a little bit. Like when did you figure out this was a real business and you were like, okay, I'm going for it?
Yeah, so I'm building these websites for people, right? And so the first couple of websites, again, it was they're paying me $100 and they're taking months to create. But over time, you start to identify processes that you can repeat so that you're able to build these websites faster. Obviously, my skills as a designer are improving, so there's that. And so, over time, charging a lot more for websites, started to charge thousands of dollars for websites, and they're taking me a fraction of the amount of time to complete. And I'm building out systems and processes. I hire a couple of people to help with the specific processes that I'm able to. For every single website, I know that I can assign them a specific task, or if, this header took me 5 hours on a site, this other site, I could probably just copy and paste that header and just change some of the colors and what have you. And anyway, so you start to develop these processes, and you realize to have a business, what do you really need to have a business? You just need a website. Ideally, you want to have some social proof initially if you can, which is why you want to do work for free or at a lower rate, so that you get people to leave you reviews, or ideally video reviews. And and you need some sort of process, some sort of package, right? So I was able to figure out a package that I was able to sell people. That's how Agent Fire originally began. That was a big part of it. The second part of Agent Fire, and probably the most important part, was having a specific problem that I was able to solve that nobody else was able to solve. So at the time, I'm one of the first people within the real estate space that was talking about hyperlocal. So hyperlocal is basically, real estate agents should be focused on a specific hyperlocal market or a specific niche within a market. So, like oceanfront luxury condos or military relocation or whatever it is. And so I was one of the first people that started talking about hyperlocal way back in the day. And so I worked with a team of developers to create what was called, now it's called Neighborhood Guides. Originally it was called the Hyperlocal Area Content System. And basically it allowed real estate agents to create pages for the specific neighborhoods or cities within the specific market that they were trying to target. These pages would have all sorts of really cool information. They'd have property listings. They'd have demographic data, school data. You'd be able to customize them with photos and videos. And so anyway, it was the first of its kind system. And people loved it. So it's two parts that made Fire initially possible.
And so who do you help today? Like, tell us a little bit more about who gets the most value out of using agentfire.com now?
Definitely, we're targeted towards real estate agents and small teams. We're probably not the best solution for big brokerages, which is fine. I don't know why I'm saying that as if it's a negative, but yeah, mainly individual agents and small teams.
What's considered a big brokerage? Just so we know, is it 1,000? Or what is that? What's your sweet spot?
Our sweet spot, we can do brokerages, and we're actually really attractive offer for indie brokerages. So I would say up to like a few hundred agents, but yeah, anything 1,000 plus, there's better solutions.
Awesome. And continue telling me. So tell me a little bit more about the services and what you do for them on the day-to-day.
Sure. Yeah, I think what's really the big differentiator for Agent Fire is we allow agents to start small with just a website. Yeah. Basically, with where technology is at, there's a big problem. There's a big pain points in the real estate industry with websites when it comes to these all-in-one packages. And I don't want to name any names, but yeah, if you just look at the reviews for most of these guys, they're not good. And they're just not good. And a big part of the problem is that with all-in-one solutions, a lot of these solutions are using technology it's very hard to iterate. It's very hard to develop new things. We're based in this technology called WordPress. And so basically we're able to just kind of plug things into the website. If we want to develop a new feature, we're able to kind of develop that separate and then plug it into the site versus these big all-in-one packages, all-in-one package type companies, which are just, they're just old and none of the technology works great. Customer service is horrible. These are all problems that we solve really well because we allow agents to basically kind of build their website a la carte. Our sales guys are trained in SEO, in lead capture. They go through an extensive training process. They understand the product really well. So if I'm a brand new agent or if I'm an experienced agent, I can come to Agent Fire, do a demo, explain my specific goals, my specific market that I'm trying to target, and have someone literally explain to me the exact package that I need to be able to find success digitally.
It's great. And I feel like the real estate market, one of the things I also like about your business just in general is that you really have a niche. So you have a niche, and over time, I mean, you've been in this industry for a long time. You've helped a lot of different agents, a lot of different companies. And what happens over time is you just get better. You get better. The product gets better. The reiterations, I'm sure, just based off us talking the couple times we've talked, I know I have a feeling you're a bit of a perfectionist and you're always trying to get better. I just and I feel that from you. Speaking of that, also maybe because I watch your YouTube videos, so let's switch it up a bit. I do want to get into the Nelson Quest channel. So how did this part come about?
I felt so once I started to accomplish things myself. So I would say up until about 27 years old, I basically failed at anything that I tried to commit myself to. And I just, even if it wasn't I had this subconscious belief that I just, I don't know, sucked at everything. And so, and then I had an epiphany moment, which is kind of a long story. I'll summarize and just say that I've gone through various periods of depression. And so this epiphany moment was triggered by probably the worst depression I've ever had. And I just had a moment where I realized that I could channel all of the negative energy that I was experiencing into like positive output. And so, and I literally like became a different person. I spent the next, I had an epiphany moment, and then like for a year and 2 months, I did not talk to a single other person. I talked to my family a couple times. I didn't talk to a single friend. And again, I barely had any friends. And I just, every single day I was focused. I started training for an Ironman. I never run more than a couple of blocks. I started just reading books for the first time. I actually had curiosity to discover like what my actual essence was and how I could positively manifest it in the world. And so, yeah, a year and 2 months, which I think I'm getting better at speaking and getting better at writing, but I will never find the proper words to be able. I will never find the words to be able to properly articulate just how magical it is, just to like exist alone in your own head for a year and 2 months with absolutely no distraction and just constantly challenging yourself. I became conscious of this kind of a greater voice within me that was So I realized I just reached a point where I realized I can kind of do anything that I want to, and so I thought it would be ridiculous for me, someone who's introverted, to launch a YouTube channel and make videos. I wanted to make the sort of content that I wish that I had access to when I was younger, when I was going through a lot of these things. And I'd say the main impetus for the channel was probably just like rage against what I feel is just like a false reality that is designed to consume us. Again, I would love to go deeper into that, but I fear we do not have nearly enough time. But
so tell us a little bit more about the content, because I want people to go check out this channel, like the content and how you get your ideas. Give us a little bit more of the content.
Sure. Well, I would recommend most people to probably not check out the channel yet, just because the channel's it's only in Spanish. I think some of the videos, or most of the videos, probably have English subtitles. We have a whole team working on it now. You'll actually see some of them kind of walking in the background. They'll walk into the room, realize that I'm in this meeting, and then leave abruptly. But so I think a lot of the videos are in English. But on December 1st, 2021, that's when we'll be launching the English channel, and I'm actually going to be putting a lot of funding into that. We have videos that are launching every 3 days, and I think it'll be easily the biggest personal development channel, easily the fastest growing personal development channel on YouTube within a few days. And again, I'm going to put a lot of kind of force behind making sure that it does that. But yeah, the videos themselves focus on, I would say, the darker aspects of personal development. So I think I have a good combination of research. A lot of the stuff that I've spent many years studying philosophy, studying specifically Eastern philosophy. So I have a good mix of like, Nietzsche is definitely my favorite philosopher as a whole. I reference him a lot in my videos, but like a lot of Western philosophy, then a lot of Eastern philosophy. So I have a good mix. If any of you guys are familiar with Alan Watts, I would say he's definitely one of my models. And but I also just have a lot of real world experience. I've been able to do a lot of really impressive things. And I'm someone who was fully convinced that I was just like a total fucking loser for most of my life. And that's really what I was. So yeah, being able to now like to go from that and to be able to just like look at anything and like be able to do it, like to launch a YouTube channel in South America. I had to hire people here. This culture is I've been living in Colombia I've been managing in Colombia. I've been living here for 8 years, but it's still a different culture. It's a para poder hablar, aprender y hablar español. These things were really, it was really difficult. I saw it as just kind of a ridiculous thing that I was just going to do.
That is, I mean, it's definitely audacious. I'll say that. Like, it's a big goal, and you have big goals. And now I didn't know about the English channel, so this is exciting, and I'm excited to be a part of and to see this launch. And obviously, I want to be one of those early subscribers. I'm just excited to see what happens next, because I know you go for it. And speaking of going for it, like as we've gotten to know each other a little bit, you've got some big goals out there, including climbing mountains. I mean, boxing. I mean, you're going after it. You're definitely not slowing up. Like, tell me a little bit more about these goals and really how they came about, because they're big.
Sure. Yeah, it's just I don't know. I feel like I've been able to figure certain things out that allow me. Like, obviously, we exist within this system of rules, I guess. Like, kind of like a matrix, and actually very much like the Matrix. Yeah, I've been able to figure things out to where I'm able to just kind of create my own reality, I guess. So I'm in the process of climbing the tallest mountain in every continent, which it'll be 9 mountains when everything is all said and done. Hopefully I'm doing Everest in 2023. So if I'm able to knock that out, then the rest of the mountain should be really easy. But I've already done 3. I'm hoping to do Puncak Jaya in a couple, actually February of next year. I'm trying to do like one every year. I'm 36 right now. So I feel great. I feel like I've done a really good job just staying connected to the fountain of youth. Like my skin looks really good. I do a lot of stuff to just keep myself young. I find living in Medellin, Colombia is actually probably the best thing I do, because the every day, they call it the city of the eternal spring. The weather here is roughly 72 degrees Fahrenheit, like literally every single day. I haven't had to close my window in like 7 years. Like once in a while I have to close it if there's like a torrential downpour, but I mean, just the weather is always perfect. And so, I guess when you're kind of living the same day every day, it's hard to get older. And so I'm training training boxing. I wish I'd gotten into martial arts earlier. But in particular right now I'm training boxing. I want to work on my striking, and I set a goal for myself to win a national title in boxing here in Colombia. Which that's probably the most ridiculous goal that I have, but we'll see what happens. I have a fight coming up on December 10th, so it's in about 40 days, and it'll be my first fight. We'll see. I could be completely out of my fucking mind. I could get my ass kicked, but
but you're going for it. That's the thing. You're going for it. Like you set a goal, you're going for it. And what I think is interesting here is because you obviously with your business, that's one thing, but also these personal goals, like climbing mountains. You said you've done, I think 3. You're going to hit them all. You're now this goal in terms of boxing. I mean, these are big goals. Like, what do you think helps you go from that point of like idea or inception to execution? Because I know there's a lot of people watching this right now that it could be the personal side, it could be the business side, it could be whatever, but like they have that thing they want to do and they just don't maybe cross over to the action part. Like, what do you think helps you get to that action part of execution?
Man, it's really tough, and it's interesting because on the one hand, you have to be somewhat realistic. So, at 36 years old, having never picked up a pair of boxing gloves, I've been training now for about a year, but, it's kind of a late age to decide that you want to win a national title. But I went to a bunch of local events here. I've already done a bunch of sparring over the last couple of months. And, I'm pretty confident that I can win the national title. I'm just pretty confident. I have the mindset. I have movement. I have speed. Anyway, so there's a mix of being somewhat realistic, but then also just being entirely unrealistic. Because really, being realistic is almost like something people use as a way to limit. And so, being able to climb the tallest mountain in every continent. Again, this is stuff that like the younger me would have never even remotely wasn't. That's something that other people did. So, I just see like extremely difficult things, and as long as it's like even remotely possible, then if it's something that interests me, I'm going to go for it. But again, this is all just like, it's just me, present me, saying fuck you to the younger version of me, like the more limited version of me, just like over and over and over again, like every single day in every single thing I do.
Well, one thing I definitely got to say that I'm a fan of, it's that unrealism, or being unrealistic, because I have goals all the time that I talk to people about, and I'm like doing this, doing that. And I'm like, okay, age, all these other things, great. They play a part. But like, if you stay in that just 100% being realistic box, and if you don't venture outside of it, I feel like you become stale. Stale. You stop reaching for those big, crazy goals, and you just kind of start like going on the same wavelength, and you kind of get almost unplugged from your connection, the source, whatever you want to call it. But like the idea is to keep on striving and just to keep on reaching. And some people say it's unrealistic. Okay, well, whatever, but you still go and do it, right?
Exactly that. You the less you do that, the more you just kind of stay on that path that's been laid out for you, the more you become like, exactly what the system wants you to become, which is just like a mindless corpse, just kind of just consuming things, like really. And so, being it's being unrealistic. And also when you leave the box, you realize like, oh man, like there's really not that many people out here. So I can kind of, I have a lot of freedom to I can like, while everyone else is just kind of, just going down this, while most people are just kind of going down this path and just, you just feel there's a freedom, and you realize this stuff is actually not that difficult at all. It was just living in the box, like Plato's allegory of the cave, where there was a certain perception that everyone in the cave had because they'd never seen outside of the cave. Like once you leave the cave, it's there's a whole world out here with don't want to say limitless possibility, but like,
I don't know. I'm gonna throw out limitless. I'm in for limitless. Like once upon a time, having this cell phone in our hands was considered impossible, right? Like being able to talk people long distance, like over.
I guess what I mean is like, I can't like lift this building if I try really hard. So like there's certain limits, but what I mean, limitless is probably the easy way to explain things, but I mean there's certainly limits. Like I can't like grab
for sure.
Yeah. Or maybe I can. I don't know. Maybe I'm just limiting myself.
I'm in, Nelson, and then put it on your channel. I want to see it I want that one in the English version and the Spanish version. All right. Oh man. So hey, Nelson, I just have to tell you, man, it's been really a pleasure and an honor to have you on the show today. I just have to ask you. So what's next? I mean, what's next for you? The Nelson Quest channel, agentfire.com. You're climbing mountains. You're boxing. I mean, what's next?
Yeah, I got my big thing right now that I'm focused on is my first fight, right? So that's December 10th. If you guys follow me on Instagram, I'm sure it'll be broadcasted live. So I'm sure I'll be announcing stuff on my Instagram. My Instagram is at Nelson Quest. I'm launching my English channel December 1st, hopefully, if everything goes well. Yeah, I'll say those are the two big things. Also, I'm in love right now, so
come on, better give a shout out. Come on, man.
I'm pretty serious.
Putting you on the spot. What a terrible host I am. Sorry, Nelson.
No. Well, I like to have a kid. I'd like to have a kid. So that's and I don't want to be that
all
much older
good, man.
Before I do that. So
do you have kids? All good there. This is awesome. Well, hey, again, Nelson, it's been great having you on the show. One more time, if somebody wants to follow your journey, they want to connect and learn more about Agent Fire, your channel, anything else, like what's the best way for people to follow your journey?
So Instagram is at Nelson Quest. You can actually go to nelsonquest.com. It's a pretty nice website we set up there. You can sign up for the newsletter. Of course, there's Agent Fire, which is my business. If you're a real estate agent looking to really get to a next up, better to say, if you're looking at maximize on digital opportunities within your specific hyperlocal market, then Agent Fire is the best solution. Those are the places I would find.
Awesome.
Definitely don't look for me on Facebook. I haven't used that in years. And LinkedIn, I think, is how you found me, which is embarrassing because I haven't logged in there in a long time.
Awesome. All right. Well, again, thank you for coming on the show, Nelson. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. Hope you learned a lot. Don't forget, go check out those channels and check out agentfire.com. And if you're watching this for the first time, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We have many more mission-based entrepreneurs, executives, and experts on the line. And I don't want you to miss a thing. And Nelson, again, it has been a pleasure. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Ed. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.